Yo, what up? This is your boy Soulo, and today we're going to get into how to understand how the spirit is creating the awareness to become physical. So, and how you should look at death because the spirit doesn't know the difference between what's life or death, because the spirit is nothing accumulating into physical. So, the spirit is nothing accumulating visions and awarenesses to sustain itself in that astral travel, how you mentally travel, like in your dream, like, and eventually building the blueprints and the density to become physical. So this is how your spirit develops mentalities and awarenesses to become in this density, which is no different than, like, it doesn't know the difference between life or death, what's alive or dead. But this flesh is an accumulation of death, like mentalities. For example, let's say you're a spirit, you're new to reality, being born as a child, you're experiencing new things, new ideas, how to go about life, and you learn new things as you go throughout your whole life. Throughout your whole life, you remember things, how you do things from your life and from the past. As you keep growing, you remember things from your past, and some things don't go with you. Some, you tend to let go of things, but you still tend to remember these things. And that's what's accumulating. Those are mentalities and feelings that accumulate, and that becomes part of you, part of your flesh. That's how, what we call aging. That's not really aging. It's just we're evolving and accumulating, and eventually, this has to expire. But this is how the spirit is accumulating mentalities and feelings, and how it's becoming part of the flesh. The flesh is not really alive like that. It's actually death. This shit is death. Because your spirit is eternal. Your spirit develops awarenesses, and we're already in a space, aka in a environment, a spirit that already developed this expansion in awareness, so we can thrive on and be conscious of our experience. So it already developed the elements and the waters and the land. But I'm gonna show you how it developed the land and the waters. So the spirit developed an awareness. That awareness is fluid. That's water. But is air. Air is still fluid. And then that air becomes more fluid and dense as you keep on, it's already fluid. Your mind is already fluid, and that's why you're able to have imaginations, ideas, and just, have all these fluid emotional thoughts and feelings. So remember how I said, as you keep growing in your life, you accumulate all these ideas and biases and perspectives as you grow older. And sometimes not sometimes, but most of the time you let go of things that no longer suit you when it comes to your thoughts and feelings. That's you as a spirit developing new awarenesses as you go by, that can be sustainable for you as an individual. Whatever you allow in your space as a spirit, that's what it is. You are accumulating new awarenesses and thoughts to be inspired and passionate about, and to go about how you want to go about life. So you're shedding these thoughts and feelings. This is how the spirit did it first. This is how the great spirit that we're in right now did it first. When you're having thoughts and feelings, you combine them, that's an experience. That's a world that the spirit can jump into. We're always going to have thoughts and feelings that we can experience. And, these things become outdated, and we are always in search for new ideas and emotional experiences. So this is what's accumulating, these outdated perspectives that become the flesh, that become outdated, and eventually death, dirt. This is an accumulation from the mind. It becomes dirt, and that's the mustard seeds that become literally dirt, an accumulation of death, dirt. And that's what's creating the land. But the water was here first, because the spirit is fluid. It develops an awareness. That awareness is already fluid, in motion, waters. Your stars are water. Your mentalities are water. So those outdated mentalities become the mustard seeds, and how they accumulate the dirt and the land. And now we're in it doing the same thing. God, whatever you want to call it, is a spirit that did it first. And now we're inside of it doing the same thing. So this is how the land got derived from water. It started as a spirit, with the fluid mind. The mind is like water, air. You could tie that to astrology. So, you got to expand your awareness beyond beliefs and biases, religion, and all these retarded shit, because that's what's creating the density. Literally, it's creating all these biases, is making humanity, this whole world, even more physical. You're going to go to even a more physical hell. You might make a heaven out of your hell, but eventually you're going to have to get out of that hell that you created for yourself as a spirit. So this is a problem with, colonizers and people in power who think, they're in an ego or whatever and don't know any better. But they're the ones that go in a deeper hell. But they're going to drag you out, and they're going to drag everybody into hell, because you're not aware of the mechanism of how the spirit is creating our natures. So everything has a masculine and feminine. So in order to understand, look at it this way. To understand astrology, you can look at astronomy and understand how the stars align and stuff like that. You're pinpointing the mathematics around it with your mind, the masculine. Astronomy is the masculine. You're using logic to understand it. And then once you understand it, your spirit is jumping into a new, you feel it. You start to connect with it, with your emotions. You feel it. You logically pinpoint it. And now you open yourself to a new awareness. And now you're able to have more discernment and greater awareness and power on how to, move, how to evolve as a spirit, and how to move in life with more greater awareness and righteousness. But this is like a know-how. You're supposed to know yourself, and this brings you closer to the Great Spirit, so you won't get lost in these mentalities and emotions. And now you know what it is. You know not to get lost in the flesh, not to get lost in your thoughts and feelings. But yeah, understanding and pinpointing the astronomy, father time, the mathematics, logically understanding it. Now, your emotions, you're connecting with it, you're feeling it. Now you're jumping into a new experience, a new awareness, a new world. The astrology is the divine feminine, the vibrations, and now you're connecting with it. You're connecting with the motherland, and things of that nature. So yeah, father time and mother nature, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. Peace.